What if the greatest truths were not hidden in complexity, but in simplicity? What if the reason you have struggled, tried, and failed is not because it was too hard, but because it was too easy? You've been conditioned to believe that transformation must be complicated, that it requires formulas, rituals, years of discipline, or secrets whispered by masters. And yet, when the curtain is pulled back, you discover that the quantum field does not speak the language of complexity. It responds to the quiet presence of being. This is the paradox. The mind craves complication, but reality bends to simplicity. Science has already revealed this. In the double-slit experiment, light behaves as both wave and particle, shifting based on whether it is observed. The entire outcome of reality collapses into form, not because of equations, not because of force, but because of something as simple as awareness. Observation itself is enough to change matter, and you are that observer. But here is where most people miss it. They overcomplicate what was always meant to be effortless. They chase techniques, analyze endlessly, and try to force the universe into submission. In doing so, they overlook the truth standing quietly in front of them. Manifestation is not about doing more. It is about being more. Think of water. If you stir it violently, it becomes chaotic, turbulent, impossible to see through. But when it rests, when it becomes still, it reflects the sky with perfect clarity. Your consciousness works the same way. The more you thrash in effort, the more distorted reality becomes. But in simplicity, in stillness, reality mirrors back purity. Perhaps you've experienced this without realizing it. That one time when you stopped trying to force an outcome, and suddenly, what you wanted appeared effortlessly. The phone call arrived, the opportunity landed in your lap. The person you had been waiting for showed up at the perfect moment. Why? Because for a brief instant you stopped chasing and slipped into resonance. Here lies the secret. Reality is not responding to your effort. It is responding to your frequency. And frequency is born from simplicity, not the chaos of overthinking, not the strain of over-efforting, but the quiet coherence of alignment. The ego will always resist this. It will tell you that something so simple cannot be true. It will demand proof, complexity, endless strategies. But the soul already knows. The soul whispers, it was never supposed to be complicated. You were always meant to remember, not to struggle. So the paradox stands before you. Manifestation is so simple most will miss it. Not because they cannot learn it, but because they cannot believe it could be this easy. Here is the invitation. Release the mind's addiction to complication. Rest in simplicity. Allow presence to be enough. Because in the quantum field, it already is. What if the world around you was not solid? What if everything you touch, see, and call real was nothing more than energy waiting for your observation to decide its form? This is not philosophy. This is physics. The double-slit experiment shattered everything we thought we knew about reality. A beam of electrons, tiny particles of matter, was fired through two slits. On the screen, behind, instead of behaving like simple particles, they spread out in waves. They created interference, patterns of possibility. Matter itself acted as if it were not fixed, but fluid. But then came the revelation. When scientists placed a measuring device to observe which slit the electron passed through, the waves collapsed. No longer a field of possibilities, now a single outcome. Observation had altered reality. Pause here. Because this truth is not distant, it is not just happening in laboratories, it is happening in your life, every moment. You are the measuring device. You are the observer collapsing infinite possibilities into one lived reality. This is the invisible mechanics of manifestation. The universe is not responding to what you want, it is responding to what you consistently observe with your consciousness. Look at your own life. Think of a moment when you expected failure before you began. Somehow, everything lined up to prove you right. The email didn't come, the opportunity fell apart, the conversation confirmed your fears. Not because failure was destined, but because your observation had already collapsed the wave into that outcome. Now, think of the opposite. Remember when you knew something would work out, even if the evidence wasn't there yet. You carried a quiet certainty, and reality bent to meet it. The timing aligned, doors opened, the impossible became ordinary. Why? Because your frequency tuned into that outcome, and your consistent observation called it into form. Here's the truth. Most resist. Reality is not fixed. It is mirrored. If you observe limitation long enough, the field reflects it back. If you observe possibility long enough, the field reflects that too. You are never punished by reality. You are mirrored by it. Scientists like Amit Goswami call this the conscious universe, where matter does not exist independently, but only arises when observed. Joe Dispenza speaks of it as tuning into a frequency, the way a radio locks onto a station. And Bob Proctor taught that your paradigm, your deep-seated beliefs, acts as the lens through which you observe, endlessly shaping the outcomes you attract. It's not mysticism, it's mechanics. And yet, the paradox is this. You are not just the observer. You are also the observed. Every thought you hold, every emotion you repeat, sends a signal into the field. The field does not judge. It simply reflects. Imagine two people walking into the same situation. One expects rejection, the other expects connection. The same room, the same people, the same moment, yet each collapses a different reality. One walks away defeated, the other walks away uplifted, not because life played favorites, but because each observed through their frequency and the field answered back. This is why awareness is everything. You cannot escape being the observer. The only question is, what are you choosing to observe? What story are you collapsing into form again and again? The invisible mechanics of reality are not hidden. They are waiting in plain sight. Your life is not random, it is reflected. Your future is not fixed, it is chosen. And the moment you awaken to this truth, you stop living as a victim of circumstance. You begin living as the architect of possibility. Because here's the shift. Once you understand the mechanics, you are no longer bound by them. You are free to choose differently. You are free to collapse waves into realities that serve you. You are free to look into the quantum mirror and finally recognize the power that was always yours. What if the harder you try, the further it slips away? What if the very act of chasing is what keeps you separate from what you want? You've been taught since childhood that effort equals reward. Work harder, push more, struggle and grind. But manifestation does not obey the rules of force. It bends to the laws of resonance. And here's the paradox. The moment you strain, you signal lack. The more you chase, the more you affirm that you don't yet have it. Quantum physics makes this simple. When you observe from a state of not enough, the field reflects not enough. The observer effect does not measure how much you try. It mirrors the frequency you hold while trying. If your frequency is desperation, you collapse outcomes that match desperation. If your frequency is calm certainty, you collapse outcomes that match certainty. Look closely at your own life. Think of the relationships where you chased love, constantly seeking validation. The tighter you held, the quicker it slipped through your fingers. Not because you were unworthy, but because effort carried the vibration of fear. The field answered that fear with distance. Now remember the opposite. A time when you didn't chase, when you were at peace in yourself. Suddenly people were drawn. to you. Opportunities opened. The call came. The message arrived. Not because you forced it, but because your very being resonated with having. Here's the truth. Energy precedes form. Your inner state is not preparation for manifestation, it is manifestation. Every thought and feeling you repeat is already collapsing reality. And so, effort backfires when it is laced with resistance, when it tries to push reality instead of allowing it to flow. Spiritual teachers across time echo this. Bob Proctor said, "Don't chase money. Attract it by becoming the person who aligns with it." Joe Dispenza reminds us that the field responds to your state of being, not the effort of your doing. Even in psychology, studies show that resistance fuels persistence. What you fight against, you reinforce. Imagine two students preparing for an exam. One studies in panic, repeating to themselves, "I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I must push harder." Their body floods with stress, their memory falters, their mind collapses under pressure. Another studies with calm focus, carrying the quiet belief, "I know this, I've got this." Same exam, same hours of preparation. Two entirely different realities. Why? Because one collapsed outcomes from fear, the other from certainty. Effort is not the enemy. It is effort born from separation that backfires. When action flows from alignment, it feels light, inspired, inevitable. When action flows from fear, it feels heavy, forced, and exhausting. One collapses the reality you desire, the other collapses the reality you dread. So here's your awakening. Stop chasing, start resonating, stop efforting, start embodying. Because manifestation is not about becoming, it's about remembering. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And the moment you release the grasp, the moment you surrender into alignment, you will feel the subtle shift. Reality no longer resists you. It moves with you. The moment you surrender into alignment, you will feel the subtle shift. Reality no longer resists you. It moves with you. It mirrors you. It was never about the effort. It was always about the frequency. You think you are steering the ship, but what if the wheel you're holding isn't connected to anything at all? Science reveals that up to 95% of your daily life is not directed by conscious choice, but by subconscious programming. Your thoughts, your reactions, your patterns, most of them are echoes of old scripts written long before you were aware enough to edit them. The subconscious is the silent architect of reality, building worlds from blueprints you never realized you handed it. Here's the paradox. You say you want abundance, but if your subconscious blueprint is wired for scarcity, your reality will keep mirroring lack. You affirm love with your conscious mind, but if deep inside you carry the trauma of rejection, you unconsciously sabotage intimacy. Conscious desires whisper, subconscious patterns roar, and the quantum field always bends to the loudest frequency. Think of the double-slit experiment. Particles move as waves, infinite possibilities until observed. But here's the twist. Your subconscious is the observer most of the time. While you believe your conscious mind is collapsing reality, it is actually your hidden programs, your unresolved wounds, your unexamined beliefs that are observing and collapsing possibilities. This is why two people can live through the same situation and walk away with entirely different realities. One faces failure and unconsciously programs it as proof they are not enough. Another experiences the same failure and encodes it as evidence of growth, resilience, potential. Both observed, both collapsed reality. But their subconscious stories wrote two different scripts. Neuroscience confirms this. When a child grows up in an environment of fear, the brain wires for hypervigilance. When a child grows up in love, the brain wires for safety. These patterns run silently beneath the surface, dictating perception, behavior, even the body's chemistry. And yet, these programs are not permanent. Neuroplasticity shows us that the subconscious can be reprogrammed. Old scripts can be rewritten. Consider this example. A man grows up hearing, "Money doesn't grow on trees." He internalizes scarcity, and as an adult, he unconsciously avoids opportunities, feels guilty for wanting more, and struggles financially. Another man growing up in the same society repeats to himself, "There's always enough." His subconscious anchors in abundance. The field bends accordingly. Similar environments, different inner architects, entirely different realities. This is where emotional healing becomes quantum reprogramming. Every time you revisit an old trauma and choose to feel it fully without resistance, you collapse the loop that has been silently running for decades. Each time you install a new belief, you alter the frequency that your subconscious projects into the field. Amit Goswami once said, "Consciousness is the ground of being." But it is your subconscious consciousness, the hidden ground, that most often directs your creation. When you shift it, you do not just change your thoughts, you change the fabric of reality itself. So here's the awakening. You are not broken. You are not cursed. You are simply running a program that no longer serves you. And the moment you see it, you gain the power to rewrite it. Your subconscious is not your enemy. It is your most loyal architect, building exactly what it was told. If you feed it fear, it builds walls. If you feed it love, it builds doors. If you feed it abundance, it builds bridges to possibility. The shift begins here. Awareness. To catch the silent architect at work. To pause and ask, what program is running this reaction? What blueprint is shaping this outcome? Because when you bring light to the unconscious, it is no longer unconscious. It becomes choice. And in that moment, you become the true architect of your reality. You can think 1,000 thoughts a day, but without emotion, they are empty signals, waves that never reach the shore. Here's the truth: thought is the signal, but emotion is the frequency. It is not enough to think about what you want, you must feel it into being. The quantum field doesn't just respond to mental chatter, it responds to vibration, resonance, coherence. Your emotional state is the transmitter that encodes thought into reality. Two people can think the same thought. I will succeed. One speaks it with doubt, frustration, a tight chest and clenched fists. Another speaks it with gratitude, with love, with a quiet knowing. The words are the same. The outcomes could not be more different. Because the field does not respond to language, it responds to energy. Think of a radio. You can tune to any station, but if your frequency does not match, all you hear is static. Your emotions tune your inner signal. Fear and worry broadcast chaos, and the field sends back distorted echoes. Gratitude, joy, love, they broadcast clarity. They align you with the highest frequencies of creation. The signal becomes clean. The field bends in your favor. Quantum physics shows us this. In the double-slit experiment, the observer determines whether particles behave as waves or as matter. But what the textbooks often skip is this. Who you are when you observe changes, what you collapse. If you observe with fear, you collapse fear's mirror. If you observe with trust, you collapse possibility. You are not just an observer, you are a transmitter. Neuroscience agrees. When you feel elevated emotions like gratitude or awe, your brain and heart enter coherence. Heart rate variability stabilizes, stress hormones dissolve, and the body begins to heal. In that state, the subconscious absorbs new instructions. That's why gratitude practices are so powerful. They literally rewire your biology to match abundance before abundance arrives. Consider this real example. Two people lose their jobs on the same day. One reacts with panic. "This always happens to me. I'm cursed. I'll never make it." Their body floods with stress. Their subconscious records scarcity, and the field mirrors back lack. Another person breathes deeply. "This is an opening. Life must be redirecting me." They shift into curiosity, even gratitude. Their frequency remains coherent. Within weeks, a new opportunity arrives. Same event, different emotional frequency, different reality collapsed. This is why Joe Dispenza says, gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. Gratitude is not an afterthought. It is the magnet that pulls futures into form. When you feel as if your desire has already happened, the subconscious doesn't know the difference between memory and imagination. It begins to embody the new timeline. But here's the paradox. Most people wait to feel good until life gives them a reason. They wait for success before feeling proud. They wait for love before feeling worthy. They wait for wealth before feeling abundant. But reality is a mirror, not a vending machine. It doesn't deliver what you wait for. It reflects what you radiate. The shift is this. Stop broadcasting from absence. Begin broadcasting from fullness. Don't think of abundance. Feel abundant now. Don't think of love. Radiate love now. Don't think of healing. Embody wholeness. Now, the frequency precedes the form. So here's your awakening. The world is not testing you. It is tuning to you. Every emotion you sustain is a command to the quantum field. Fear commands limitation. Love commands possibility. Gratitude commands miracles. And the moment you choose your frequency consciously, you stop chasing reality. And reality begins to chase you. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. This is the paradox most people never see. They chase the dream, but remain the same self that believes it doesn't exist yet. They visualize abundance, but identify as someone in lack. They long for love, but embody unworthiness. And the quantum field cannot be tricked. It doesn't respond to the mask of desire. It responds to the identity behind it. Here's the truth. Manifestation is not about pulling something into your life. It's about stepping into the version of you who already lives it. The quantum field is infinite possibility, but it mirrors back the vibration of your being, not your wanting. Think of it like this. If you want to tune into a song, you don't beg the radio to change its station. You adjust your dial until the music already playing is heard. Identity is your dial. Every belief, every self-image, every assumption you carry is the frequency that broadcasts to the field. If you believe, deep down, that you are unworthy, the field can only echo that. But the moment you shift identity, I am worthy, I am abundant, I am love itself, the entire station changes. The music begins to play. Neuroscience supports this. The subconscious mind runs your life 95% of the time, recycling the self-image formed in childhood. If you see yourself as small, broken, or lacking, that identity will unconsciously filter every opportunity, every relationship, every decision. It is not life rejecting you. It is your identity collapsing the probabilities you allow yourself to perceive. Consider this example. Two people both try to start a business. The first carries the identity of someone who always fails. Even when opportunities appear, they sabotage them, missing deadlines, doubting themselves, assuming no one will buy. Their identity shapes their perception, and the field obliges. The second person, however, has already shifted. They see themselves as a creator, capable, already successful in essence. When obstacles appear, they interpret them as challenges, not signs of failure. Their identity bends reality in their favor. Same action, different self, different result. This is why Bob Proctor said, "If you want to change your results, you don't change your life. You change change your self-image. Because your identity is the thermostat of reality. No matter how high you turn up the heat of desire, if the thermostat is set to lack, the room will always cool back down. The quantum key is this. Stop asking, how do I get it? And start asking, who must I become? Because when you are the version of yourself who already has it, you no longer chase, beg, or force. You radiate certainty. You embody completion. The field bends to match your state. This is what Joe Dispenza calls living as if. When you walk, breathe, and feel as though your future has already arrived, the brain and body wire themselves into alignment with that reality. The subconscious accepts the new identity as truth, and the field reflects it back. You stop waiting for permission. You become the permission. So here's the awakening. The future you desire is not waiting in the distance. It is waiting in your self-concept. You don't attract abundance. You become abundance. You don't attract love. You become love. You don't attract healing. You become whole. Identity is the ultimate manifestation technique, because once you are it, reality has no choice but to agree. The moment you wait, you push it away. The second you ask, when will it come? You confirm it has not arrived. Time is the greatest illusion of separation. It convinces you that your desire is far, that you must earn it, chase it, wait for it. But the quantum field does not operate on clocks or calendars. It exists outside of linear time, and consciousness collapses possibility now, not later. Here's the paradox. The more you obsess about when, the more you anchor yourself in the absence of what you want. Waiting is another form of lack. Impatience is proof of disbelief. You are affirming separation while longing for union. Science whispers this truth through the double-slit experiment. Particles exist in infinite positions until they are observed. The moment of observation is now. The collapse doesn't happen one day. It doesn't wait for next month or next year. It responds to the present moment of consciousness, which means the question isn't, when will it happen? The question is, who am I being right now? Think of two people trying to manifest love. The first keeps asking, where is my partner? Why hasn't it happened yet? Maybe I need to wait longer. Every thought is a declaration of distance. They are broadcasting lack into the field. The second shifts differently. They wake up and live as if love is already present. They radiate gratitude for connection. They embody warmth in every interaction. Without waiting, they collapse the separation, and life begins to echo it back. Same desire. Two timelines, two realities. Joe Dispenza teaches that the body becomes addicted to waiting. It memorizes impatience, checking for evidence, rehearsing lack. And so it lives in a perpetual future that never arrives. To break this cycle, you must step into timeless creation. You must become the version of yourself who already has it now. When you embody the end state, you dissolve time. Gratitude is timeless. Joy is timeless. Love is timeless. These elevated states are not future tense. They exist only in the eternal present. And when you anchor into them, the field has no choice but to reorganize around your vibration. Imagine planting a seed. If you dig it up every morning, demanding to know when it will sprout, you suffocate it. But if you trust the process, water it, feel joy in its unseen growth, the bloom arrives naturally. Creation requires trust in the invisible. It requires surrender to the now. Here's the awakening. Time is not your enemy nor your master. It is your illusion. The moment you let go of when, you collapse the waiting game. You step into the only point of power that ever existed, the eternal now. So stop waiting, stop asking when, begin being, begin living. Because the version of you who already has it, does not wait. Life is not punishing you. Life is reflecting you. Every situation, every person, every delay is a mirror. Not to shame you, not to punish you, but to reveal what you carry within. Just like glass reflects your face without judgment, reality reflects your state of being without distortion. Here's the truth. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. The world is not listening to your words. It is responding to your frequency. You can stand before the mirror and beg it to smile, but until you smile first, the reflection will not change. Quantum physics whispers this secret. In the double-slit experiment, particles behave as waves, unformed, infinite until they are observed. But it is the quality of observation that collapses possibility into form. The universe doesn't deliver randomly. It echoes consciousness. It bends itself to coherence, which means your external world is nothing more than consciousness crystallized into matter. Think of this in daily life. Two people lose a job. One says, "Life is against me, nothing ever works out." Their energy sinks into defeat, and reality mirrors it back with more scarcity, more closed doors. The other says, "This is a doorway, something better is aligning." Their energy shifts into trust, and reality reflects that belief by opening new opportunities. Same event, different mirror. The mirror is neutral, but you decide what it reflects. Joe Dispenza reminds us that most people live as unconscious programs. They repeat the same emotions, the same thoughts, the same reactions, and then wonder why the mirror never changes. Reality is not punishing them. Reality is faithful to them. It shows them the exact vibration they refuse to release. But here lies your power. The mirror is feedback, not fate. If you see fear reflected, you are being invited to choose courage. If you see rejection reflected, you are being called to embody self-worth. If you see delay reflected, you are learning patience and trust. Every reflection is an opportunity for alignment. Imagine standing before a mirror in the morning. If you see your hair out of place, you don't blame the mirror. You adjust yourself. Reality works the same way. If you see chaos, adjust your inner state. If you see lack, adjust your frequency. The world is not your enemy, it is your teacher. And here's the awakening. Once you stop resisting the mirror, you begin transforming through it. You no longer take reflection as punishment. You take it as guidance. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this showing me about myself?" Because the mirror is not there to condemn you. It is there to awaken you, to call you back into coherence, to remind you that every reflection can change the moment you do. So look at your life today as you would look at glass. Neutral, honest, exact. Not judgment, not punishment, just reflection. And when you shift your being, the mirror will smile back. The truth is so simple it feels impossible, and that is why most miss it. You search for formulas, for steps, for maps. You study, you analyze, you chase. But the quantum field does not respond to complexity. It responds to clarity, coherence, and presence. Manifestation is not a puzzle to solve. It is a state to inhabit. Observe, feel, become. That is all. Here's the paradox. The ego wants it to be difficult. It insists that mastery requires effort, struggle, strategy. But the universe whispers otherwise. The double-slit experiment, the entanglement of particles, the collapse of wave functions, all point to a truth so elegantly simple, it transcends intellect. Reality bends when consciousness aligns, not when effort strains. Think of it this way. Two people sit in meditation, both wishing for peace. One overcomplicates, trying to control thoughts, control breath, control feelings. Anxiety creeps back in. Frustration builds. The other simply observes the mind, feels the heart, lets stillness arise. Without effort, without judgment, without force, the stillness deepens, the frequency shifts, and the mind itself becomes the reflection of calm. Same desire, different approach, same law, different result. Emotion is frequency, identity is the dial, attention is the lever. To complicate is to scatter your signal, to simplify is to strengthen it. Gratitude, joy, love, presence, these are the instruments. Play them, and the field harmonizes with your resonance. This is not mysticism, it is science. Consciousness collapses infinite possibility into form. Your emotional coherence, your embodied identity, your gentle observation, they are not optional. They are the signal. The rest is distraction, and here is the freedom. Simplicity feels almost offensive to the ego. The mind protests. Surely it cannot be this easy. I must be missing something. But the soul sighs in relief. It always knew. It always remembers. You do not need to chase. You do not need to force. You do not need to wait. You need only to be. Every day, practice the sacred triad. Observe, feel, become. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Feel your emotions as currents of energy, not facts. Become the version of yourself who already lives the reality you desire. The field does not resist. It does not debate. It mirrors your state instantly, infinitely. Imagine a pond. If you throw stones, ripples scatter, the water churns. But if you simply place your hand in the water, the reflection of sky and light remains intact. Simplicity does not disturb, it aligns. And alignment is creation itself. So here's the awakening. All you have been seeking, all you have been striving for, all the formulas and techniques, it was never elsewhere. It was inside you, waiting for you to remember. The secret is simple. Observation, emotion, identity, presence, gratitude, surrender. Stop complicating. Start being. The universe already awaits your signal. The experiment was never outside you. It was always within. Here's the paradox. You have spent lifetimes observing, chasing, hoping, resisting. Yet the moment of true creation has never required more than your awareness. You are not separate from reality. You are the reality. Every thought, every feeling, every subtle shift in attention collapses infinite possibility into the form you experience. You are the field, and the field is you. Quantum physics has already shown it. In the double-slit experiment, particles exist as possibilities, diffuse and unmeasured, until consciousness observes. Observation collapses wave function. Consciousness is the catalyst, the conductor, the source of manifestation. And this is not just particles. It is you. It is life. It is every moment you are awake, aware, and aligned. Imagine two people praying for change. The first begs, pleads, waits for signs, acting as if the universe is something separate, something outside. The second, quietly, effortlessly recognizes themselves as the source of change. They act, feel, and exist from the place of already having. The world responds differently, not because the rules changed, but because the observer changed. Same law, different observer, different reality. Here is the ultimate awakening. Your identity is the experiment. Your awareness is the instrument. Every emotion, every choice, every presence, these are the variables. And yet it is profoundly simple. Observe, feel, become, collapse, create. Your inner state is the generator of form. Joe Dispenza teaches that when you embody the end state, your body and mind realign with the frequency of what you wish to manifest. The neurons fire, the heart rhythm synchronizes, the field bends. Not because you forced it, but because you allowed yourself to be it. Every cell, every thought, every breath becomes a conscious act of creation. Consider the ocean. The waves rise, fall, and shift with the energy beneath them. You are both the water and the wave. You are both the energy and the shape it takes. The field does not act on you, it is you. And the beauty of this truth is that it was always yours. The power was never elsewhere. The laboratory was never outside. The experiment was never separate. And so, the final awakening arrives. Freedom is in recognition. Power is in presence. You are not waiting for something to happen. You are the happening. Every instant is both the canvas and the brush, the signal and the collapse, the dreamer and the dream. Step into it. Feel the infinite potential vibrating within you. Observe the subtle frequencies of your being and allow them to collapse into the reality you wish to embody. The field does not judge. The field does not resist. The field mirrors your coherence, your alignment, your self-awareness. The simplicity is profound because it is you. The creation is eternal because it is now. You are the observer, the observed, the experiment, and the infinite possibility. You are the field, and the universe awaits nothing more than your recognition of it. You are not outside. You are not separate. You are the very force that bends reality.